Good evening, welcome to the Sutton Conservation Commission meeting, Wednesday, March 1st, 2017. 30 McCullen Road, Lot 4, T. Tomkowitz.
Wait a minute.
Let's continue.
Oh,
We're going to read it in, right?
No,
It's just a discussion.
it's just a discussion.
Oh,
His,
just a discussion to continue.
His last name is Tunkevich.
Tsinkevich, okay, to 3:15 at 7:05.
Yeah, he's not ready with his information yet. He was coming to find out what exactly he should file. He's got some lot line issues, I guess.
Okay.
I give you a little background. I just found out about this in the last couple of weeks. Back, I don't know, was it 10, 15 years ago? He came in, wanted to build a house, and the edge of the lawn was going to be about 100 feet away or so from the wetland. So they had Art Allen go out there and delineate the wetland, and then the Conservation Commission wrote a letter that they could then present to the building inspector or whoever else needed it, saying that everything was just fine from a conservation perspective. Okay, it's not be the way that I would have recommended doing it. If they want any kind of jurisdictional determination, it really should be done through an RDA. So he emailed me, and what my response was, because he just wanted to do the same thing over again. And I said, well, you know, I'd really rather see this done through an RDA, but at a minimum, you're gonna have to have Art Allen go back out there and re-verify the wetland boundary, because it's been 10 years. You know, it's a long time. I mean, the permits are only good for 3. So if there was a permit, it would be 7 years expired. So at least have your wetland scientists go out there and make sure that nothing's changed. I'll leave it to the commission to decide whether or not you were gonna require an IDA this time. But that's for the 15th.
He just wants to define the limits of work.
That's one thing, and have some kind of a letter again, or proof that he can show the building inspector when he goes to pull a permit, that the work is outside jurisdiction from conservation standpoint.
He just needs an engineer to say that to the building inspector, doesn't he? There's no work gonna
If it's
happen.
more than 100 feet away.
He doesn't need us at all.
Right, but, see, exactly, and if he needs the Conservation Commission, it should really be done through an RDA, and then you can make an official legal jurisdictional statement.
Be less money for him
I agree.
to get the engineer to say, well, here's the limit of work.
Yeah.
And he's not gonna do anything outside of that and leave us right out of the equation.
I agree. If he needs to come to conservation, then there should be an application.
Yeah, but he shouldn't come here.
Right. But that's the way it was 10 years ago, so he's using the same rationale.
17 Irma Jones Road, dangerous tree.
Yeah, I don't have any paperwork on it.
Yeah, I have some paperwork on that.
Come on up, please. You want to state your name for the record?
Yeah, Ron Donahue. I just wanted to, before I cut the trees down, I wanted to check with you guys, and
Okay.
so I didn't get fined or anything, but we live with further than 200 feet from the water, and I just took some pictures of the trees that I want to cut down in my front yard because they're pretty close. This one right here is like 10 feet off my deck. So I was just,
How many feet are the trees off the water? Do you know, roughly?
yeah, well, like more than 200 feet.
Oh, more than 2?
It's on the other side of the road on Irma Jones. I have the plot plan right here too. I don't know if you need to see that.
Was there any streams running down the side?
No, nothing.
More than 200 feet, Brandon? No?
Foot mark goes through the middle of can you confirm to me that this is your
Yeah,
property?
yeah.
So the 200-foot mark, I'll make the line. So, you see, 200 feet right there, and 200 feet there. So the line goes something like this.
Okay, so
Yes.
All those trees are in my front of my yard.
Let's see the color. So that yellow, so everything on the left side of that yellow line's within 200 feet.
Okay.
Okay, so the procedure with that is if you need to take down any trees on the left side of that line,
Yep.
Conservation Commission requires a letter from a licensed arborist to state that the tree that you need to take down is an imminent danger to life and or property.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's all I need is an arborist, and then.
Yeah, to show that it's a danger.
But if the
Okay.
trees are on the other side of the line, you don't need any.
Yeah, but there's no trees back there.
So they're all on,
All of them are in the front, my front yard.
Was
So-
that your house there?
Yeah.
Then where's the deck?
The deck's right on the front. It's like a wraparound deck on the front.
So
Which
that
side
would
is
be-
the fr- according to
The
this, which
front
side
is the front
the
is
waterfront,
right there. That's the deck.
Okay.
so they are.
So they are within jurisdiction, within 200 feet.
Mm-hmm. The yellow line's an approximation, but it's pretty
Give or
close.
take.
So they basically go diagonally about halfway through the house.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 200 feet.
How many trees do you want to take down?
5. They're all 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
They're all right in the front.
Why you want to take them down, or you need to take them down?
I would like to take them down so I feel better about, like, if a big storm comes or something like that. I don't want a lightning bolt hitting the tree and then the tree landing on my house.
Well, if you get an arborist to say that, to assess it and show that they're a danger,
Mm-hmm.
that's what the commission's looking for.
Okay.
So that'd be a licensed, not just a tree company, make sure it's a licensed arborist. So if
Okay.
you call a couple of tree companies, just ask them if they have a licensed arborist on staff.
Somebody,
Okay.
is.
You replace the trees.
Huh?
Then you replace the trees.
Replace them?
Yeah, that's the other part of the equation.
With a 2.5-inch caliper, you have to buy new trees and plant them.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Close to
On
the
your
water
property.
is preferable.
Yeah. Well, he's on the other side of the road, so I don't
Well,
think it matters that much, but you could put the new trees further away. So that-
Now, since it's a private road, does that make any difference at all?
no,
So you guys still own it? The
We
town
don't.
still
Nope,
owns it?
you own
even- No, I know, I mean, you guys still.
have
you still have a-
jurisdiction.
Yeah, you still have a say even though it's a private road?
It's not ownership, it's jurisdiction.
Okay.
I don't know, the saying I like to say, it's frighteningly honest. But I tell clients that, you may be paying taxes on it, but the town owns it. That's the way it goes. If you don't pay your taxes, if you don't honor the different regulations in town, you can get in trouble for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so I just get the letter and then I come back here, or do I set another appointment?
Do you wanna do-
Well, it's also, this is an RDA
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
situation.
An RDA?
Yeah, request for determination of applicability. It's the simplest form of application you can fill out.
So you could fill the form out, get the letter from the arborist, bring it up and see Wanda, she'll put you back on the
Right, and
agenda
Right.
After you pay a fee,
after you pay
Yeah, I
the.
just seen that $340 before I even cut them down.
or get the arborist, yeah.
You're gonna have to pay him too. It's all kinds of fun.
Yeah. Sounds like a
And
nightmare.
what we would also appreciate, sorry, go ahead.
No, just, you then would have to take that drawing that you've got,
Mhm.
make a copy of it at Staples, okay? And show on that drawing where you propose to replant the 5 trees that are taking the place of the ones you're taking down.
Okay.
So it all becomes part of the record, so to speak, of what you're doing.
Okay.
And the 5 trees would have to be 2.5-inch caliper, which can be expensive too.
So even though I'm cutting them down, I still have to pay to plant more trees.
Mhm.
Sounds like a scam.
Great country.
All right.
Have a good night.
Run for office.
You're behind 5
Yeah,
minutes.
but I gotta catch up here. Kinda caught me off guard there. 705 33 West Sutton Road. Come on
A
down.
new filing, so you need to read it into.
Oh, it is a new file. Okay.
And I do have the,
Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 1st, 2017 at 7:05 at the Sutton Town Hall, 4 Oxbridge Road, Sutton. The purpose of this hearing is to review a notice of intent submitted to the Conservation Commission by James Hall, Sutton, Mass. The project consists of removing existing temporary dock and replacing with a new temporary dock. Remove existing railroad ties and replace with 8-inch stone and mortar to match boundary wall on map 8, parcel 28, 33 West Sutton Road, Sutton.
Excellent,
Welcome.
thank you. And if you recall, we did speak this meeting or two ago. So this is just a formal application. Essentially, we had a 3-part dock that used to exist there. We pulled off the first 2, which were the floating sections, to get them out. The third is the fixed piece, which we would, I wasn't sure whether to pull it out or not, in case you needed to see it in place. So that is in place, but that would also come out. We would replace it with an aluminum dock that would sit, it would project about 20 feet out. I think there were some drawings, I don't know if you have them rendered or not, but essentially the dock as it existed at the time was 36 feet, so it was out of guideline, so we're bringing it into about 20 feet. It projected to the left, which is away from center line on our property, so we're going to flip it so that it projects toward the center line of our property. That is the one variance on this. It's not exactly center line, but there's a set of water steps to the right, so essentially it's, we flipped it to the right, it got it a little closer to center line.
Which is that right there.
Yeah. And then as you can see, there are 2 courses here of railroad ties. Over the course of the next couple of years, we do want to get rid of those as well, get that creosote out and away from the lake. Ultimately, that would bring the wall a little too low, so we then want to build that back up with about 7 or 8 inches of mason, stone, just to match the existing construction. So it'll take a 16-inch set of 2 courses of railroad ties, knock it down to about a 7 or 8 inch single course of masonry above what's sitting there right now. So that's our ask.
So to go back to the diagrams, we can go over those.
Oh, certainly. So this is as we purchased the property, and so we just purchased the property, and we're now officially Sutton residents as of
3 days ago?
3 days ago.
New taxpayers,
Thank you.
welcome to
Yes, absolutely. So this is as we purchased it. It was a fixed set, a floating fixed section, and then the floating section which floated out on barrels. And what we'd like to do is pull that back in. If you go to the next slide, Brandon.
Mhm.
It is, yep, so it'll be a single 2 sections, and then we'll project off to the right. And that'll just be aluminum construction from Great Northern Docks is who we'd like to go with. And then it'll have the Trex decking that we can remove, and the whole thing would come out in the fall, go in the spring.
Okay, so remembering off the top of my head, the maximum square footage on a dock is what? 300 square feet. So we have 40, 80,
Well,
600, you're well below that, and it can't go out any more than 30
Correct.
feet, and you're going out 20. Put the reflectors on each corner at the end. It's not quite in the middle, you can't keep 25 feet away, but those water stairs do get in the way.
yes.
So I
Legitimate reasons.
legitimately, and also I think that getting rid of the creosote railroad tie is a good idea, water quality.
Can do the work when the water's down, or during the...
Yeah, so we have most of it out. I'll go ahead and get that last one out once we're done here, and then the dock itself is going to be available in April, so I'd like to put it in
Look at the
April.
water level.
And then, yeah, what's going on with the water?
won't stay
It's on its
down.
way up already.
All the snow melted.
Yeah, it is.
I asked if they were already filling the lake up.
They probably are.
I would imagine.
There was an ice floe on Sunday, it was hysterical. All the seagulls were parked on it. Went drifting along.
Those only came since you moved to town.
So that's the ask.
Any questions, comments, anybody?
The block work or the brickwork that you're building on, I mean, that's solid and stable, or do you gonna think you're gonna?
It appears to be. I'll need to get both courses of the railroad ties off, and we'll do the first top course, we'll take it off this spring, and then we'll wait until the water is down to take off that lower level, and we'll see what's underneath it. And then, of course, if need be, we'll have a mason have to actually solidify and structure,
And
hydraulic cement and all of that stuff.
that would be in the form of maintenance work if you had to do something down
That's right, it
below.
would be considered in-kind repair, replacement.
Oh.
So you're all set, just as long as you don't expand the footprint.
No plans to do
Yeah,
that.
there would be, it's an exempt activity.
Okay.
No, we're going for less yard work, not more.
Some good-sized trees here, too.
Yeah.
They're beautiful, leave them there.
And we were able to bring in a service to trim some of the branches that were hanging out over the house, and they did a really great job, so just everything, they brought the canopy up a little bit, but it's nice, very cleaned up. They did a good job.
Great trees, healthy trees.
Yep.
Love them.
Vista pruning?
Hmm?
Vista
Just a pruning.
Maintenance.
Maintenance, yeah. Made sure, yes.
Maintenance.
It's a fine line.
Can you give me calls?
No call.
Okay.
The trees are still there. Under the vista pruning regulation, you can trim up to 90% of the canopy.
We got nowhere near that.
Oh, gosh.
If you live on the coast, saltwater, it's a big thing.
Yeah.
I just helped somebody do that, and it was a big deal. It increased the property value by many six digits. Yeah. So,
Paid for you then.
vista pruning can be a big deal.
New buzzword. Anybody else, Bill?
Anyone here in the audience for this?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to file a negative determination.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Good
Welcome
luck.
to Sutton.
Who
Thank you.
seconded?
We're glad to be here.
Who seconded the first one? Was it
I
you?
did.
Joyce.
Who seconded the motion for approval?
Dan.
Got a minute to kill here.
We have a lot of minutes to kill.
Oh, that's continued. 720's continued too.
Yeah, so 214 Worcester Providence has been continued. They're still waiting for some information. Glenn's waiting for you to call me today. I just, they seem to be calling me the day of the meeting, so I can't really get it out there much except for it on the doorway. And then your 28 Wheelock also called to continue. They are working on some other information also. So if you would like to do some of the, whatever board business, we cannot do the project update until after 8 o'clock because they are both coming in.
Mr. Burns and Mrs.
Mr. Burns is
Genesi.
coming in with the paperwork, I guess, and Ms. Janice is coming in.
Well, we
with
have to
the
officially
papers.
continue the others, right?
Yeah,
So,
but 720
yeah,
can do that
let
one.
me just, well, the continuation, so,
Can I do them now? Do I have to wait?
yeah, you can either do.
You're in
that.
charge.
Yeah.
722-14 Worcester Providence Turnpike.
Make a motion to continue to 3:15 at 7:35.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right. Reading 728 Wheelock Road.
Can't do that one yet.
Gotta wait till 7:35 on that one. Minutes. Wanda got them, looks like the minutes were done. Did everyone look at them?
The ones that are done are,
February
the
1st.
February 1st one, the 15th, I'm still working on them.
Oh, that's right. February 1st was the one that we were trying to get done for
We were
tonight
trying
for
to get them for tonight.
Mr. Burns coming
So
in.
we'll have those for after, they should be up there with Joyce, and if we need them, they're right there. And like I said, I'm still working on the others, which will be,
The February 1st one, I had to recuse on the 64 Worcester Providence Turnpike.
right, did I write that?
The vote should be
Check on that,
4-0.
because
He voted on
I
it.
might have not,
He voted on it.
No, we didn't vote on it yet.
according to the minutes.
Oh, okay, according to the minutes.
So, did I write any of his stuff down?
No,
I should have.
that's true.
That's not 64 yet. I usually do write it.
Yeah, but what he's talking about is the vote.
Oh, yeah. I have not put the numbers in there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 to,
Yeah, so it'd be 4.
4. I can correct that.
And I did recuse.
Yeah, you did. I knew you did.
we want to list that.
Where's the top? Maybe up. The 64. I usually put it right up
Yeah, I
here.
think you said, yeah,
Well, if you want, write it in there, and then
okay.
I'll
Change
check.
it.
It may be that I.
I think you did with,
I
Billy.
think mine's accurate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yours is accurate.
which one was
You got
yours?
credit for not participating.
159. I don't
Way to
think it's
be.
on it. Is it on that one?
Yeah, you put he stepped down,
Is the vote wrong?
the vote's wrong.
The
Yeah.
vote's wrong, I figured.
So those are the corrections.
But we do have the information on Burns
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
if we need it for tonight.
If you want, you can hold it to that page if you want.
The March 2nd meeting, which is tomorrow, 10 a.m., is there anything to report on that? We discussed briefly, but in case there's anyone in the audience that's concerned about that,
That's
would be them.
Karen Campbell from the Lake Singletary Watershed Association. That's why we're here. We just wanted to know if you guys were going to discuss it, if what your thoughts were on it, because it's something that concerns us. We will have members there. So we just wanted to know if you guys were going to discuss it and take some notes.
The note is only on there for them to know about it tomorrow, because I wasn't able to really notify them, because I just don't know.
We don't know what they're gonna do.
So, yeah.
It's just in the planning stages, so they're gonna tell some of the options.
Right.
The options are to do nothing, to take all the dams out, to fix all the dams. What their preferred option is a combination of things.
Okay.
I wrote a thing that's gonna be in the Historical Society news bulletin, and it's hot off the press, so I just gave them a copy. It's on the history of all the ponds there and everything. So I do have one copy here, that's, if you'd like.
Oh, great.
How are you, Tara?
Good, how are you?
And the meeting is scheduled
Bring
with
all your questions tomorrow.
10 o'clock in the
Selectmen's room.
Selectmen's room. They
Mhm.
anticipate a couple people being here, is our understanding.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'd like to be there, but I'm not going to be. I found out about this in the middle of my vacation last week. And,
Sorry about that.
yeah, I've had a appointment set for at least 2 weeks now for Thursday morning. Can't get out of it. 'Cause eventually, they're gonna come to conservation.
Okay.
And it would be good to get ahead of it by going to the meeting tomorrow, but unfortunately, I can't make it. And I'm not happy about it, but I have no choice. But I'll keep on top of it as best I can as well.
So all the flags and all the stuff that they've been marking since the summer,
We really don't know what they are.
so they
Other
didn't have
than,
to talk to you when they did all that?
They having yet?
They're just doing the study. Ty and Bond is this, they're doing the study and presenting it to them what the possibilities are. The dams are in, well, if you read that, the dams are in poor condition. I have the email, did you get their report with the first 4 pages of theirs?
Yes, I do have a copy of that.
Okay, so that's basically what they're gonna talk about tomorrow.
The board should probably know what the concerns, the association's concerns are, so they can back it up.
Well,
Yeah.
we're not gonna have anything to do with it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can bring them up tomorrow. They'll have to come to us anyway.
Mhm.
Well, I'm kind of interested, if you're interested, to hear what the concerns are real quick.
Yeah?
We got time.
I think some of the concerns are the natural filtration that they provide to the lake now.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also, besides that, there is more use on the pond right up the street. Is that considered Welsh or
Yeah,
whatever
Welsh
it crossed?
Pond, I think it is.
Besides the wood ducks, you know, they talk about the fishermen here and there, but people ice skate, there's people painting, there's fishing. The filtration of the lake, of course, and they're putting a lot of money into fixing up Marion's camp. And to suddenly have all this stuff change, we're also flooding, there's a few driveways along that have pipes that the water run under that were built how long ago, that if they change things, how's that gonna affect those for the property owners? Those are the key things, I think, you know. Are they
That-
taken into, you know, the turtles up the street there and things like that?
Because there's a, we call it estimated habitat of
Mhm.
rare species.
Yep.
Yep, so, yeah, that's definitely a concern. How will the lowering of the water affect the turtles? So you have recreational concerns.
Mhm.
You have wildlife concerns, and you have water quality and quantity concerns.
And property.
Potential property damage as a result of flooding.
They mentioned in that 4-page thing, they mentioned that there were driveways down below, and that's one of their concerns too.
Okay, because I didn't realize that. Okay. And when they do eventually come to you, it would be posted anyways, and I'm sure we know about it, so we can always attend at that time.
They've got a long road to hoe.
Right.
'Cause it's not just Conservation Commission.
Mhm.
They're gonna have to go directly to the DEP for what's called a water quality certification. They're gonna have to go to the Army Corps of Engineers for a permit from them at the federal level, which might be easier than not if you've been reading the news lately. Also, they have to go through what's called the MEPA office, the Massachusetts Environmental Policy Act office. They've exceeded certain disturbance thresholds that puts this office on notice, and this office coordinates with all the different departments in the state to make sure that everyone's informed, because when you go over a certain threshold, it could affect not only conservation, but, I mean, there might be issues with DOT. You know, so they want, if it's that big, that you don't even think is related, but after it's done, all of a sudden, some agency comes out of nowhere and says, hey, what did you just do? So they go through this office, and this office coordinates with all the different agencies and departments throughout the entire state. And they have to file something called an environmental impact report. So it's a big process.
However, if nobody says anything, the process just slides down the road and it gets done before you know it. So, I mean,
If you
it's,
see something, say something.
you got it, particularly as it relates, Singletary's the biggest entity downstream from what they're doing. And I agree with you people that that's got the biggest impact on the conditions of Singletary, both from a flood control and, as you say, filtration going down. There's nothing to stop the water once those ponds are done. Gone.
Well, what do you mean by, is that what you mean by filtration, is stopping the water, or the water
Combination.
being cleaned before it gets in?
Both. It controls it meters the amount of water that goes down the stream at any given time, so that they back up behind it. It allows sediment to drop out in the ponds above it, so the water going downstream tends to be cleaner. So it serves as a flood control, sediment dropout, and as.
Well, that's part of their argument, though.
The flood control would be,
non-existent.
no, I think it would be, if you take the dams out, then when the water backs up, it will go into where the ponds were, but,
No, there's nothing to stop, there's nothing to cause the water to go into where the ponds were.
Right, if the dams are gone,
If
it's.
the dams are gone, the water passes right straight through. And if you say
Yes and
the,
no.
no,
in
well,
that case, you got a dam. You can't have it both ways. If you got water pond up behind something, it becomes a dam, all right?
Right.
So you can't have it both ways. You can't say, we're taking the dams out, but when high water comes, it's all of a sudden gonna be a dam again, because it don't work that way.
it will.
Well, this is gonna be part of
It's
their
not,
argument.
it's a dam or it's a dam.
This is gonna be part of-
Coming tomorrow, Bob?
The road is part of the dam
Part
bank.
of their argument is gonna be, is that if you get a lot of water backed up behind a dam, and the dam fails, and it all
Goes
goes
out
down
at
at one
once,
time,
yeah.
Or
we
maintenance,
don't want that to happen.
or maintenance.
Or maintenance, right. At the same time, the metering of the water can be done through the wetland on either side of the stream. That's
How-
a
how
big
does-
part
How
of,
does that happen?
that's a big function of wetlands, is the riparian wetlands next to the streams when.
Using big words again, Bob.
Yeah.
See it, see it.
When the water overflows, it goes into that
Yes.
flat area, that wet area, wetland next door, right on the sides, and it meters out.
Why would
its-
the water overflow?
Why would it back
Okay.
up?
Because there's a lot of it coming down. I live on
In
Bond
case
Hollow.
there's- In case you have a snow melt and flooding event at the same
Well,
time.
in that case, isn't that now becoming a dam? If
Yes.
it's holding water back, it's a dam. So if the
Well,
dam
yeah,
is no
yeah.
good, then why will it be good?
Well, let's say the
later?
dam is gone, okay? So now it's no longer a pond, but it's a stream in the middle with a marsh on either side. Okay?
Well,
The
whoa,
Yeah.
you're presuming it's a marsh. The only thing that's gonna make a marsh is if something backs the water up to keep it wet. If it's a stream, streams aren't marshes. Stream is water passing through something. So to make it a marsh, you have to have some contained water.
Well, it
You
has to
have
have
something-
enough groundwater at a certain level.
It has to be contained, yes.
Yeah, we don't know what at what elevation is the water gonna be at, the long-term. Groundwater, right, good. Is it gonna be high enough to support a marsh, or is it gonna turn into more of a drier, swampy kind of area?
We're draining the swamps.
Draining the ponds.
Yeah, drain the
Create
ponds,
swamps.
in the swamps.
Has there been
Different
any
swamp.
projects in Sutton that could be compared to this or not?
The
There's nothing else
closest I can remember was when a company called Interface Global wanted to divest themselves of the Manchog Dam, and they just wanted to drain Manchog Pond.
I tried to get Bill to buy it, but he wouldn't.
But it never came to that. So, but this is something that the state of Massachusetts Commonwealth does on a fairly regular basis now through the Department of Ecological Restoration. Taking dams out has been a priority for the state. Dams that are in disrepair, no one's taken care of. And also, as a secondary perk, is to have stream continuity where you have certain fish species are able to go up and down and breed with before they couldn't. So think of a coastal stream where the shad and the herring and all that they hit the dam and they couldn't. Now they're able to go up into the ponds and breed.
Signaltary's not that big.
Right.
It hasn't got much of a
Well,
migrating.
the trout, I don't know.
It's a warm water fishery.
I can see both sides of the argument, that's all I'm saying. But I'll point out, and I wrote this in an email, there's something that I don't think is gonna be covered by the other agencies or departments, but is covered under the Sutton Wetlands Protection Bylaw, is recreation. So I think that any recreational concerns that you have are really gonna come up and be most applicable here when they come in front of the Conservation Commission.
The next time my swamp gets flooded, I'll call you.
Do that.
Well, that's a big purpose of swamps on either side of the stream, is to make sure that
There must be a dam holding it
the
up.
flow is
We'll
moved
have
out,
them
it
come down
goes
and check
into
your
the
dam out,
floodplain.
make sure it's safe. We'll have you rebuild your dam.
The wetlands soak up the water,
Yes,
and
when it
then in the
rains,
summertime
they
when it's
don't all
dry,
just stay.
it releases it back to the stream, so the stream never goes dry.
I could send an excavator in there and open it all up for you, never have a problem.
See, you're used to having
Thing.
a channel in it. Go sideways.
My understanding of the history
It's
of
in
those
here.
ponds.
Just
Joyce knows the histories of those ponds, I think better than anybody.
That's what I just,
Your article.
my article, I just wrote the whole thing. What do you want to know?
I said, if the natural habitat does what these dams do, why did they build the dams to begin with?
They were cranberry bogs way back,
You're talking 1800s.
yes. The first thing that happened, they were originally cranberry bogs when the Native Americans were there. Then the first settlers came in, they built a dam near the Aylward School and had a mill. Then when the mills went away, then they had hay fields and they put ditches in the middle of them. And that was so they could harvest the hay better. Then in 1868, a bunch of people got together and they decided that they were going to have the Sutton Cranberry Company, and they got all these investors. And they had the Sutton Cranberry Company. And they planted all the vines, and they got a whole bunch of cranberries out of there in 1878. 1,200 bushels of cranberries came out of there. And after that, in 1921, Merrill,
Fishery.
Arthur Merrill started the warm water fishery there. It was the first one in the state, and he was the first full-time employee of Mass Fish and Wildlife. And if you walk down into the pond there, there's a plaque on a stone and stuff for him. So he was the one that they dammed them all up and had the fishery, and then in 1970, they did away with the fish hatchery, and it became the wildlife management area, so.
So Brandon, what you're saying is our best argument is the recreational purpose?
Not necessarily.
Just one of them.
I'm just saying it's one of them, but I think that the recreational aspect, the only place you're gonna get your best voice is in conservation. Because the other
They are leaving.
agencies are really
They're not taking
concerned
out all the dams.
with
That's the plan on 1 or 2.
wildlife, they're concerned with flood, they're concerned with water quality, things like that. And all things that conservation takes care of as well. But at this massive level, you have a lot other agencies looking at too. DEP directly,
It's pretty interesting.
instead of just through the Conservation Commission, and the Corps of Engineers, which is the federal level, which is the big boys. So they're gonna be looking at a lot of the same things, this Conservation Commission is. But the thing that is gonna make the Conservation Commission here different than the other agencies is that other agencies don't have a mandate to look at recreational activities. And this Conservation Commission has written right into the bylaw that recreation counts. Now, that being said, there's different kinds of recreation. I
And
think the
public
ones that are
safety is gonna trump
used
everything.
here, you mentioned them, there's fishing,
I
there's
don't wanna use
boating,
that
there's
word.
ice skating,
Painting,
what else?
Painting?
constantly somebody's painting right there.
Oh, people
Painting.
They sit on the side of the road with
Yeah,
easel and
easels.
Well, they could paint a pond, or they could paint a marsh, you know?
Yeah,
Or a dam.
With a dam.
Well, I know the fish hatcheries. I live on Singletary now, but I didn't always. The fish hatcheries, I used to go with Bob's kids and ice skate. I fell through the first time there, ice skating on the fish hatcheries
Mhm.
and playing hockey. So there's recreational purpose of those as well, not just Lake Singletary.
but they are keeping some of the ponds, they fixed the dams, so they're not, I mean, to play devil's advocate, I wanna see the ponds stay the way they are too, but if the ponds are dangerous, I mean, if it's a danger, we're probably not gonna have anything to say about it, much, huh?
Whose
I dare-
responsibility is it to, maintain them? Is that
The state.
The
state.
Life, liberty, and property downstream from the schoolhouse pond is negligible.
Because it's now a marsh.
So nobody's living in any house, so it's negligible. Life, liberty, property downstream from the schoolhouse. There's not a lot of volume of water back there.
There was a survey crew there for a long time, at least 5 weeks,
Oh, yeah.
6 weeks.
They're still there.
Are
They're
they
not
still
done
there?
yet.
I haven't seen them. I used to, in the morning, see them when I was leaving for work.
So they'll be there to answer questions tomorrow, I would assume.
Thank you for your information.
And if we hear more, we'll try to make everybody aware. Any other comments on Merrill Pond, dams? Anybody?
I enjoyed the history.
You
I
enjoyed-
always heard it was the hatchery. All the guys that I worked with that grew up there always referred to it as the hatchery for as long as they can. Now I can one up them and go, no, cranberry bog. And they'll, they're from Millbury, so it's nice
You-
history. I love it.
They're from away.
I'd like to give you a quick update on 80 Worcester Providence Turnpike, which is the big solar farm.
Yeah, we still got 10 minutes, yeah.
I went there on the 1st of,
Wait a minute, you've got a 735 on Wheelock Road.
Well, it's
That's been continued too, so.
735, 28 Wheelock Road.
Make a motion to continue to March 15th at 7:20.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Brandon?
I went to the site on February 1st. There was still snow on the ground. Just want to take some pictures, show you what's going on. This is the access road Route 146 is right down in here. The old house used to be right in here, and the access is now, used to be from the road, but we had it changed to be off the access road, and the wetland replication area is down here. Looking in bottom of the slope where the stormwater structure is going to be. So the bottom line on this site is that the solar arrays are in, the infrastructure's in, there's no grass growing yet. And there's a lot, that means there's a lot of unstable.
Mud.
Yeah, muddy dirt everywhere. And on the first, it was all in the snow. With this weather, it's all open, so until we get into April anyway, and the grass starts growing, and they seed it, it's gonna be pretty open, so.
Were you able to walk the erosion control?
No, it was a bloody mess, snowy, and I didn't have that much time. But from where I was standing, it looked all right.
From where I was standing, it looked in disarray. It needed work.
Oh, yeah? So you went over there too, huh? Okay.
Just saying, from where I stood, it was in disarray.
He
It
was
needed
up the
work.
road a couple.
That's in disarray, right there.
The downhill slope where it all goes into the corner and comes off the property by TLC,
Yeah.
the silt fence is all down and
Okay.
laying on the ground. And that's a low spot that's draining right into TLC.
Okay, that's a little further down the road. A little
Closer to
further up-
Worcester.
A little further up, closer to Millbury.
Well, it's on the, yes, it's on the Millbury side of the project, yes.
Okay, well, I'll make that a priority to give him a ring and say, listen, you need to beef up the erosion controls.
Do I see hay bales there?
Yep.
Straw.
Not wattles?
We had this talk.
Earlier.
Straw bales, right?
Straw. Okay.
Anything else on that? Correspondence and track sheet review, Wanda?
I didn't print any because I've added what we have on here. We have 14 and 33, but other than that, there hasn't really been anything going on. So, and right now it's quiet. And I've just been trying to keep up with who's sent in to the Worcester Registry of Deeds and trying to print those out. And I did, as a matter of fact, I got back from the lawyer all the certificate of compliance that we did last meeting. He went to the registry and he sent me all the stuff that's been put in there. So I think I had about 8 or 9, whatever we did the last meeting. So I've got those to file with those also. I usually just clip them together and then we know that those have been closed out. And John's working on with Hunter's Court. There are 3 others that he'll be bringing in. One of them is the pump house at 64. The other one is 83. So he's going to work on bringing those certificates in too. And then the other 75 is it's part of Hunter's Court, so he said that's not ready yet. Then hopefully someday when he's done, we can close out the whole subdivision. But until then, we'll have to wait.
Lake Singletary watershed. McNamara's coming in tonight, so should wait to discuss that.
Yeah, he won't be here till after 8.
Okay.
Because, I didn't know about these, the 214 and the 28. I didn't know they were going to continue because they kind of waited until the last minute to let me know, and that's not good. I'm gonna have to let them know and say, gee, you know, you need to let me know before this. Because now you see what's happening. I could have booked other things in there, but I found out too late. And I've been posting the agenda on Fridays, just in case we have another storm on Monday. And I can't post them because that's not good, because then we can have a meeting. So, because I can always repost them on Monday, that's not a problem. It is when they wait too late to let me know. So, other than that, we just enjoyed another 5 minutes or so.
The subcommittee review, Dan, any
Yeah, is
update
there
on
anything
when
on
that's
that?
gonna be?
Wife's making plans for me, so
Okay,
we're in trouble there.
so your report.
We didn't really vote on the February 1st meeting, so we,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
That's when you were fixing them.
Yeah,
minutes, do you-
Yeah, we just-
So,
Do you want to,
we just made the changes on here, so.
everyone
We
okay
wanna
with
vote
those being
subject to those
changed?
changes?
Yeah, I mean, that's whatever's appropriate.
Okay, make a motion to accept the minutes of February 1st, subject to the changes we just made on the votes.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye. Here's Dan.
there's also another one, 171 Worcester Providence Turnpike, is there any update on that?
That's,
Lori has not been answering my request to ask her what's going on with the detention basin, with the granite bound, the granite marker inside, it's supposed to measure sediment, but nothing.
so you've reached out to him. You and I have both been in contact with Jack Sheehan, so we're at a standstill until they update us. Oh, when, do we know offhand when the, was there an order signed on that?
In order
Yeah, there is, order conditions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for what?
I
well,
don't think it needs to be continued because it's been ongoing.
well, how long ago was that? Jack was asking, when was that decided? I said, I thought
Jack
it
was
was,
still here.
it was before my time. 'Cause
Yeah, Pleasant Valley Crossing
7 years
was,
ago,
was
8 years ago?
approved, well, it was amended too.
It's been amended several times.
Yeah. That was
It
in
went from one owner to the
2013,
other.
it's 2013, I think that.
Because it's just a partial on it, right? Is it a partial, or is it?
No, it's a partial.
There is a partial COC on it.
Part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We had to do that so they could open the market, remember?
Alright.
It got
On that,
amended in
just on that part. yeah.
2014, and there was a minor field change associated with a restaurant in 2015. So, let's see. The order was, goes back to 2005. And issued on October 6, 2014.
Okay. Well, hopefully we can get Pat to give us an update.
Hopefully.
7:50. Read it in.
So, I don't have any real additional paper, they've all been handed in.
It has to be.
I just gotta read it in, and
No.
then I don't.
Yeah.
This is a new hearing.
It's new, or it says it's new.
Yeah, it is new. Problems with the hand file. There it is. Got it. It's snuck in between the others. Yeah, it's a reading.
14 Walsh Road, the Sutton Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on Wednesday, March 1st, 2017 at 7:50 PM at the Sutton Town Hall, 4 Oxford Road, Sutton. The purpose of this hearing is to review a notice of intent submitted to the Conservation Commission by Martin Blitt, Sutton, Mass. The project consists of installing a 24-panel tracking solar panel. 6 trees need to be removed on map 16, parcel 98, 14 Walsh Road, Sutton. Welcome. If there's anything out of the ordinary here.
So, only 2 of those trees, I think it says there, are part of the buffer zone.
board decides what to do to past meetings, so only 2 of them are in question. So I followed the recommendations of the committee and submitted the RDA. Yeah, the RDA. Wanda has posted the article in the paper, and I have sent the emails, got a listing of the abutters and sent, mailed to them, returned certificates of mail to Wanda. So that's where it stands at the moment. So Mr. Blitz, you're going to be taking down a 10-inch tree and a 30-inch tree in the buffer zone.
Correct.
And you're going to be replacing them
That's correct.
in the buffer zone.
That's correct.
What are you thinking about? Any particular species? Well, I'll tell you, they have to be 2.5-inch diameter trees. So I believe we talked about this before, and my son would like to put birch up. I'm not sure if that's a valid. The paper birch?
Yes.
That's fine.
Okay. So he's partial to that, since we don't have any in the area around our house. He thought it would look nice in that area.
I agree.
You can have what you want.
As long as it's
As long
native.
as
It's native to the area.
Yes.
I read the playbook too.
So my recommendation is to issue a negative determination contingent on the replanting of the trees, and that Mr. Blitz give the Conservation Commission a call after he's done the planting, so he can do a cursory inspection.
Any discussion?
Nope.
Anyone from the audience tonight?
Jim? Stamp Jim, okay. Have to sign this?
Right.
After we vote?
Yeah, it might change the,
That might change the whole thing.
it might change the edge of the buffer zone.
Did you already pay the permit fee?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Make a motion to issue a negative determination of facts with a stipulation that you call us after the work's been done so we can verify it.
Second?
So it means I think can be in progress.
All those in favor?
Aye.
No. The commission has 21 days to issue permit, at which point you can't do any work. And even after you get it, you're probably not much danger, but there's a 10-day appeal period. Okay, so in a butter, direct a butter, or a citizens group of 10 people or more, agree, you might have heard of this, can appeal.
Okay.
What you want to do. So the safest thing to do is wait till the appeal period is over.
That's 3 weeks.
Well, it depends on when you get the RDA. This is not going to be very good. You'll have it next week.
And then it's
10 days after that.
That's the safest thing.
Okay. Then that's what we'll do. Okay.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
This can be signed.
You moved to see 2.
I agree.
Yes.
Lake Singletary Watershed Association. Mr. McNamara, would you like to update us? We've got a few minutes.
Yes, I mean, basically, we're asking for the extension of the order of conditions for the lake drawdown. And it's been pretty standard over the years. I'm extremely happy that you folks brought it up. And, that is the agenda, because usually we have to remember to ask for the extension. But nothing's changed. We paid a lot of money for the benefit of the town, especially with the kids and everything, to get this order of conditions done. So we can, the reason is to help mainly, no lie, is to protect docks, walls, and to help with the environment, because if we had the water up and didn't draw it down, the walls would come apart, the soil would go into the lake and cause more nutrient overload and problems. So, it's kind of standard operating procedure, and usually we go to you folks, answer any questions, and hopefully have a stamp it, and we move on for another year.
Or 3.
Pardon?
Or 3.
5?
You can get 5 the first time, but every time you come back, you can only get 3. It's not my turn yet, unless you say.
Go for it, please.
I wasn't around. This goes way back, I think about before. Does it go back before you, Joyce?
I think so.
Yeah, it does. It goes back to like 2002.
Right, so that means that the only person who was around was Wanda.
Mark. Mark was here, Elise was here, and Andrea.
Yeah, Max, the new order of conditions done with geosyntax 2 years ago the most.
But so 2000.
What was that? Geosyntax?
Yeah, I mean, at the
2011?
pace of I had prepared it myself for years, the order of conditions.
Because the extension ended in 2013, but it wasn't extended from then.
Right, and the answer I got today from folks at Solitude, they have a long binary, so I don't know if it's Solitude or Solitude.
Yeah.
They said because of the Permanent Extension Act,
Yeah.
it does go until May of 2017, and not 16.
All right.
I can buy that.
Yeah.
I got a couple questions. Not having any background on this really, and there's nobody in the room here, and the board, and myself that really knows anything about it.
Yeah.
Could you give me and the Conservation Commission the story behind
These go with some.
the water conditions and what it was for and
Send them
the
down that way.
purpose of it?
I mean, the whole purpose behind this order of conditions is, regulations regarding drawdown of, this case, Lake Singletary.
For the purpose of what, controlling aquatic weeds?
Controlling nuisance aquatic vegetation, and the main things were, the way Lake Singletary is, there's a lot of walls.
Yeah.
And with the winter and the walls, what would happen is it'd get in, freeze them, tear them to pieces, and then you'd have all that soil and stuff leach into the lake. So, we've been doing a drawdown. I'm 56, I've been on the lake or right next to it forever. It's that type of lake. Some lakes aren't built that way. Webster Lake. Webster Lake doesn't have a drawdown. It wasn't built. Lake Singletary was built and dammed. It has been doing a drawdown. It used to be Terry Window or Window Mills, and they would do it whenever they wanted to do it. So, it's been so many years since I put together one of the order conditions, but that was on purpose.
So it's just for the drawdown, it's not for pesticide aquatic weed management?
Yes, it is for that too. No doubt.
Yeah, I remember them coming in for the aquatic.
Okay, so can you
Herbicides.
explain what's going on with that?
We have an invasive species, fanwort and milfoil, Eurasian, not the native stuff. And we do treat yearly 4 different amounts. We're very, very cautious with how much we treat. But it is, a benefit to the town. You guys have seen, unfortunately, we'll be talking about Merrill pond systems, or what happens with Brawley Pond. Singletary would, especially anything under 6 or 8 feet deep, would be completely wiped out with Eurasian milfoil and fanwort if we did not treat right now.
Mhm.
So every year, we do a survey, and we try to only treat where we have to treat. And we have, of course, had license. I started with ACT, they were bought out, now it's Solitude. The other thing that we also monitor for is algae. We have a group that goes out every single month and keeps some pretty incredible data on how much algae, how much nutrients, how much oxygen levels, all those type of things. And we're also very careful with that, but we do, on occasion, treat with copper sulfate to knock down the algae. And it's a real benefit too, especially with Marion's camp and swimmers. There are sicknesses, and there's even been deaths over the years, not with Lake Cemetery, we do a very good job keeping it clean, related to algae. So I think we probably had to treat with copper sulfate 8 or 10 times over the 25 years I've been on the lake.
Okay. So, when the original notice of intent for the drawdown and the aquatic herbicides came in, were there any reporting requirements each year on what was being used and how much and where?
Yes, every year, what we do is we do the survey, and then I supply to the town exactly where they're gonna be treating. They have the license and get the permits, the required permits through the state, and have their license to do it. And there's a legal notice I have to put in the Telegram Gazette or, to notify folks. And there was a stipulation in the order of conditions, I'm sorry, I didn't read it ahead of time, we usually notify both towns, and the board, we let the Board of Selectmen know, Recreation, and of course you folks, of the date we're gonna be treating.
You do? Because I've never heard of it.
Yeah, they do.
Back in 2002, what Mark had done is he contacted them, I believe, and it was all the dams that were being done to this, the Office of Dam Safety was requiring that they file. So this is, I'm just looking up the records, I can remember since 2002, we did the order of conditions, and every year Dan's been contacting me for the update, for the extension. Now, with the new bylaws, maybe we can extend it for 3 years instead of the 1 every year, but that is up to you. And it's been ongoing, and I've been here a long time, so.
Wanda, do you have a copy of the order of conditions?
I have everything right here.
I've never seen it.
I can email, it's in here. There's so many.
They usually post it when you're gonna treat it, and it's,
we
They
post.
do,
we
he
have
contacts me,
requirements.
we
Is
have
that
to
it?
close,
The whole
we
lake
have
is
to close.
posted.
Yeah, I go around with
yeah.
posters and put them up.
One
There's
time
all
I went
kinds of
swimming in it,
regulations that we
Yeah,
have.
so what I'm interested in
But,
here, and what
until
what
it's
the,
little.
any special
Stop.
conditions would have been.
got infected, but.
Did you?
Yeah.
Just give me a second.
Every year,
Who
Dan
controls the level
contacts
of the
me and I
water?
contact the Board of
Right.
Health and
We
Recreation,
might
we
say,
have to
we might
close.
think we do, or we might think it's the Millbury Conservation Commission, but it's Dave Roach.
And whom is he?
He's with the Millbury DPW. No,
They're just
very
curious,
good.
that's all.
No, they've been very good.
Yep.
It's a bit of an art, and you have to consider all the downstream,
Sure.
and they're having big problems downstream.
You have the notice of intent?
Round Pond
This tells me nothing.
has had a blowout coming out of West Main Street.
Yep.
Riley's
This is
Pond,
2002.
dam is basically
Okay.
Conditions
frozen,
in 2002.
so.
I find
But
that
they're doing a very good job, and we haven't had, how long has it been since we've
Maybe
had,
50 pages.
much too high of water? It's been,
That was before I was there.
yeah.
Because right after, when I moved there, they said that 1 year, so it's at least, it's over 5 years.
Yeah, since we've had,
Quite a.
too high water with too high of a problem.
I don't remember what it's like.
So you map the lake every year where the
Yes.
plants are. Who does that?
Aquatic, ACT, Solitude.
Solitude does that, and then they use that to figure out where the hot spots are for the aquatic vegetation management.
Yes, it's an intensive survey. We do some stuff ahead of
Yeah,
time.
I've done them myself.
Oh,
It's,
you know.
it's fun.
Come on
For
over.
some.
Yeah, you do well.
Something, I know, I'm weird.
I also, after each one has been issued, I always send a copy to the Millbury Conservation
Yeah.
Commission.
We're very careful. It has, drawbacks, and we're very careful to not over-treat, and of course, it's extremely expensive. And we do have indigenous species that will go out of control, especially with the nutrient load in these days. And we're very careful to try to, you gotta, for indigenous species, it's really gonna be, there's a 5 steps, where 1 is drinking water clear as can be, and 5 is Merrill Pond at the worst of the year. It's gotta be, for indigenous species, it's gotta be a 3 or 4 minimum, which is a hazard, to swim in, with that type of weed, getting kids in there, or somebody wiped out water skiing. It could be extremely hazardous, so we've got our hot spots, and, fan water is our big concern right now.
Okay, have the chemicals changed in all that time? Because I have here a few different chemicals you're using. One of them's called Navigate.
Yeah.
There's another one called AquaClean,
Yeah.
and then there's the copper sulfate.
Yeah.
Has there been any change in the chemicals you're using?
Not lately, but I'm having a little brain cramp with them. But the milfoil is basically the same thing that is in weed killer, for your lawn. The fanwort is Clipper, is a brand name that we've been using. I'm trying to think of what chemical it is. Paul Corliss would remember.
I just remember, I don't remember.
But those are the commercial names for them. I'm sure they got the technical names in there. But we have severe restrictions on how much Clipper we can apply because of concerns with the mussels. And we haven't had any problem with mussel die-off, or we have it extremely healthy. That's another thing we do on a point source survey that we just had done this year. How many mussels where we haven't had any problems, but with the Clipper, you can't treat the same place 2 years in a row. So we keep records of the areas that we've treated through Solitude, and if you go on our website, I usually send them through there too, of everywhere we treated for. I've been on the Lake Association for 20 plus years, and every year we keep track of where we treat.
So you're keeping track of it. You said you notify the town.
Yeah.
Who in the town do you notify?
Wanda helps me a lot, but the recreation department, the police, usually we notify, through Wanda, the
Board of Health.
In the Board of Health. And we gotta do the same thing in Melbury because there's 2 towns.
So you're keeping track of this one?
Yeah, it's all right here. I send an email out to every department to let them know, because they need to know if the lake is gonna be closed for a certain time.
We've changed the date per the town request too, especially with the recreation department, or delayed, the swim lessons and such. So,
Date and time.
yeah. Which isn't always easy.
At least the kids still get to swim.
When I first started to do the order of conditions, I did them for the town of Sutton, and I did them for the town of Millbury, and they would be the applicant, and I'd make it out, but it's got a lot more stringent, a lot more detail with the requirements, and I'm not qualified to do what ACT or geosyntech has done for us with. We have, and I think we provided a copy, the lake management plan. We paid $40,000 to geosyntech, I think it is, and don't take my numbers, perfect. But
When did you do that?
We did it twice, and there's probably a total. And I think the latest report came out just last year or the year before.
Is that the one that's posted?
Yes, it's on our website.
So based on that new lake management plan, does that change anything in here at all?
Nope, but what it really it helped us with, I'm going to be talking about the Merrill Pond system, which was a real sink for nutrient loading to try to prevent it from going into the lake, or try to use some of that. So we have concerns with that, and it's helped us get a lot of federal or state money. We helped us to determine the highest nutrient loading to the lake, and the Lake Association with that spent a lot of money from the residents to put in water different drains.
The drains.
Yeah, the drains to try to keep the lake clean. So we do a lot of things to try to prevent having it, you know, everything's really geared to nutrient loading. That's the biggest problem. And, you know, we've had fertilizer programs to try to, you know, now nobody uses phosphates except for starter fertilizer. And we've actually had programs where we gave phosphate-free fertilizer out before it was popular. And, you know, just a lot of educational. And, you know, other things like association did was, I think we spent $30,000 to, my numbers are horrible, to repair the gate to the dam.
Was it 11 there?
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's a partnership with the town. So.
I might suggest that when we if we extend this, that we ask you to have the company that does the management to review the order of conditions, and if they're using chemicals outside that,
Yeah.
notify us what they are and why they're making the change. Just so as we're all up to speed and there's no confusion.
So,
Anybody else have any concerns?
I was just reading through the order of conditions, and they didn't say very much. I didn't see any kind of special condition for reporting or anything like that.
I want to make sure that you have the latest, because we spent $10,000 for.
This is the notice of intent from 2002, and Wanda has the orders of conditions here.
I'll
So,
look up and make sure I get the latest electronic one,
so
because
we got one here.
I don't know why there's.
Here's 2002.
Yeah, there was one dated 2011, I think. We looked into it.
That had it. Mark Briggs liked to deal with those things personally when he was here on the board, and he kept it out of my hands. So I don't really know what was done. Now Mark's living before it.
Yeah. We'll look it up and make sure we get
Okay,
the
so
actual.
this one here says that the order in 2003, the order conditions was extended for 3 years, so,
Yeah.
yes, 6 to 9, 3, 4, 5, 6. So, there should be another one.
Right, so the state has a template that goes along with the
Right,
order of
right.
conditions. It really says nothing.
Yeah.
And then you have
This is
what's called the special conditions
Yeah.
from the Conservation Commission that can get into specifics. And I don't see any specifics here at all regarding reporting or requirements for knowing what chemicals are being used.
You know, I wish I had took out latest, and I'm sure we have an electronic copy.
Well, if all you've been doing is renewing the permit,
We did it, we
Yeah.
did a new
First
notice of
extension
intent.
you did a brand new notice of intent in 2011.
Yes. at
See,
least
I don't even remember that.
Yeah. You know, I know, I'll check with Medri too.
I only have an
because-
extension.
Because that was the kind of thing that Mark Briggs would say, oh yeah, I'm on top of that, don't worry about
I
it.
only have an extension for
No,
2011.
we paid a lot of
I
money.
have a 2009 minutes,
2009?
you guys' minutes from 2009.
Is
Is
that,
that,
is that a new?
Because they have a brand new notice.
to issue an
of-
extension?
Extension.
Okay.
Issued extension, yeah, that's what I thought. Because I believe
Yeah.
it started in 2006, the first extension started. And then they were doing them every year instead of, instead of every 3, because back then, I don't think we realized it.
We got a lot more detailed on the drawdown plan.
Yeah, because it came up
Like I
with more
said, it
details.
was, I did
Right,
it
we
years
have no
ago.
specifics on the drawdown plan, when you start draining, when you start filling it back up. We don't, it would be nice to have all that information.
No, we'll definitely get it. It's, like I said, it's a partnership with the town. We're in this together, and it doesn't do any good if the lake is a mess.
It's just that I don't know anything about it really. I get the concept. The concept is good. But I don't really know the specifics in the devil's in the details, as you all know. So, what's the commission's pleasure on this?
Probably a little more detail, I think is what I was hearing.
Well, we maybe need the updated conditions
Yeah.
and,
How about if we do this, is there any way you can grant, you know, it's March, and I just want to make sure we get everything legal and get solitude lined up. I'm hoping to treat, I mean, we always end up doing it, seems
August.
like right when school comes out, or it's always, it's a very fickle thing, depending on how much sun we have, and, you know, you look and do a survey in June, and you won't find anything, and then look at the end of June, it's, you know, prolific stuff.
Yeah, I think you've been doing it in August.
No, it's usually in June we do a treatment, and it's right around when they kind of watch with the swimming lessons.
And most of the time, we end up with.
Can it
it's
be
August, a
amended
lot of
to
times it'd be on
include-
the south end.
Oh, okay.
I apologize, I've been doing it so many years, it's so.
Yeah.
Who would know the answer to that?
It's probably been easy because there's been certain people on the board that have known about it since the beginning, but now we're into a new era.
Yeah.
And it's just that no one here has the background. So it would be, this is a good time to kind of reboot the whole thing and get everybody up to speed.
What's the date that they have to have it extended by?
May 5th, I believe.
May of 2017, you
Yeah,
said?
beginning of May,
So they have to submit their extension 30 days prior to that.
which they've done.
So at this point, you know, I think,
You don't have to worry about it.
you know, you're going to get the extension. All we're asking is
Yeah, I'll do
to
that.
find a copy of, if you spent a lot of money with Solitude, and they came up with a game plan to tell you what they were gonna do, I suspect.
Yes, exactly.
And I think that's basically what Brandon's asking for a copy of.
No problem.
And, you know, if you give us that, then we will attach that to the extension to make it a complete document, or more or less. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
I agree, and I would love to see a copy of the lake management plan too.
All right, it's
Why
right on our
extend it?
It's on our
website.
website.
Okay,
Yeah, so,
yeah, I think that all makes sense to me.
good.
Just a matter of getting the specifics and knowing that, you know, that nothing big has changed.
Yeah.
Oh, knowing what's happening.
All right,
You know, what we probably, after you submit that information to Wanda, right, and giving us a chance to read it, or Brandon, I think he'd like to have you come back in one more time just to talk about it. But I don't think you're,
There's no
I'm not
problem. yeah.
talking out of school here, but your extension's not in jeopardy. Or are we gonna impose any weird restrictions or things like, it's just a case of getting the paperwork up to date.
yeah, you just get it all rebooted and educate
All right.
the new board so everybody feels comfortable. Because, you know, these extensions are discretionary. So my recommendation to the board was make sure you get familiar enough with it, you feel comfortable issuing the extension. So this would go towards that end.
All right, no problem. I'll,
So you specifically, just so you check the order of conditions, look for any updates, specific chemicals, if anything's changed, add them, info on drawdown, closing the dam, anything, just,
we'll get
The management plan, it's online, I guess.
That's right.
Copies of it, so it's a matter of digging them up.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks for your cooperation.
Anything.
Thank you.
I'll take it a Kit Kat.
Good.
Did
Take two.
did anybody need a hard copy of the management plan, where it's on the
No,
website?
do you have a digital copy?
It's on the website.
And I'll get it that way.
Okay.
Digital's good.
I'll just send you the,
If we had a hard copy of the management plan, it could go in a folder and become
Part of it.
Oh,
part of the documentation.
Commissioner Tech would like a hard copy for the file,
of the
See, I was
management plan.
thinking 3 years.
on your dime.
We're not necessarily signing this today, right?
no.
No.
No,
just
it's up
drop
to
it
you.
off to one.
I can wait until next time.
Yeah.
I had the copy already for 1 year.
Well, they're coming in again before we vote on it.
Yeah, we'll just leave it on this one.
So when would you like to come back?
Next meeting?
Next meeting?
Yeah.
Wanda?
Okay, the next meeting is March 15th. I can put you on it, so it'll be a project update.
If you could schedule a time earlier,
At 7:50.
that would be more Christian towards them.
All I have is 7:50 unless you want to wait till April 5th.
No, that's fine. We can,
So what was the date?
March 15th.
2 weeks from tonight.
3:15? Just put in the email to you.
Yeah, she knows me.
7:15. 7:50.
50.
Yeah, 7:50.
Okay.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks for coming in.
Thank you.
805, 355 West Sutton Road.
Motion to waive the reading?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
How's it going?
Good.
Great,
Welcome
you.
back. What's your update for us?
How much?
You can use the
TV.
TV as a way to talk if you want.
Hell. That's the grass. I'm trying to grow my grass and, you know, make a beautiful lawn, you know, but it takes time. That's it. Those are everything about that stump down over here. I think that's about the line you guys are worried about. From here to there.
You're absolutely right.
That's where I have
I
to fill
paced
in.
it out, and this stump right here is about the 100-foot mark. So the wetland is in here. It's actually about 20 feet past the wall. Okay? And then the 100-foot mark is about where this is, which is also correlates with the bottom of the grass slope as it is. So the backyard stopped at the 100-foot mark. And now he's gone in about another 80 feet and taking down this and
But the stump's all there
cleared it
still?
up. There's a lot of stumps there still. You know, you got this one, there's another one here, there's a couple in where this little cart path is to get down there. I didn't see anything in here, but that was filled with trees at one time, was it not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are the copacing rules, Brandon? That the
Coppice-
correct word?
Right,
Right.
well, the coppicing,
Coppicing, pardon me.
is where you cut vegetation down and then you let it grow up naturally. You don't plant lawn.
We'll look at the firewood end of it, I think.
What's that?
Firewood end of it.
Right, that could be a
We're trying to help you.
Right, and what it's viewed as, if you're not doing any other kind of permanent alteration, like you're not planting grass, you're not building a house, driveway, whatever, really what it is it's change in habitat type, which technically isn't any better or any worse than it was before. Instead of a forested, it's now, we call early succession lawns, where we're talking about, shrubbery and saplings. Okay, that certain kinds of wildlife like rough grouse and woodcock prefer. Okay? As opposed to, forest interior species like owls. But if he was to convert it to lawn, then he'd have a lot of mitigation to do. And I don't see.
I can do the shrubbery like you said. We talked about
I don't,
it.
yeah.
I wanted to make it, I wanted to do the lawn, but what are you gonna
Yeah, that's kind of what I think about it too.
do? Yeah. So what are you gonna do? I'm just gonna
I
continue on the
appreciate
west
your
side.
honesty and all of it.
Oh yeah, I'm not. It's nothing to, whatever.
He likes coming to our meetings.
Yeah, I'm gonna come after anyway. I want to ask after it's all over. I can just still drop in because it's like I said,
It's an open
I was a
meeting.
little ear going on down there too. I almost walked down there and sat in there for a
You
minute.
can make an
talking about walkers.
application to sit on this side too if you'd
No,
like.
I like sitting over here.
All right, so I took those first pictures up by the barn here, looking down. Now I'm down in this picture, I'm down at the stone wall looking back up. Okay, so here and there. And the 100-foot mark goes about right at the bottom of the slope here. Okay. Is that on your property?
No, that's my neighbor's.
Neighbor,
Yeah.
okay.
Looks like Cushman.
It is a good.
It looks good there too.
See, a scrapper came and tried getting it out of there, but they couldn't get it out of there. It was getting some other stuff and they couldn't get that out, so.
Some good sized trees on this side too. So the stone wall's the property line?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I measured it out once because there's a stake on the.
So
No.
it slopes down, and about 20 feet down the slope, which is right around where the big oak trees are, is where the wetland starts. So you're about 20 feet from the oak tree, which is the wetland line, up to the stone wall. and then another 80 feet to the bottom of his existing lawn. So we have an admission, it's not gonna turn into lawn, what's the commission's pleasure?
We filed an RDA hearing. And what was his request on the RDA,
Good question.
other than trying to stay as far out of trouble as he could?
Replanting trees, native species to the area for replacement of several trees removed.
I would like to plant 20 trees of different local variety.
I don't think that sounds so bad. I'd rather plant trees than have bushes.
Well, there's other options that you have available to you, I believe. I'm not speaking out of turn, Brandon.
Just don't touch it, let it grow back.
I was doing that for a while. Yeah, we can do that if you want. I can still plant a couple trees down there if I want, though, right?
Of course,
You can plant
that's an exempt activity. If you want to plant trees,
Okay.
if you want to plant shrubs,
Native
as long as
trees.
they're not native, not ornamental.
Yep.
Do as many as you want. That's fine. I would also recommend is, let me show you. What do you want to do with these? What do you want to do with that, Mr.
Those are
Rose?
from on top of the hill.
What do you want to do with
We
I
want
was
him to
gonna
cut them
run-
up and get them out of
I
there.
was gonna process it
Over the
before,
next
it's usually
couple of
what I
years.
do.
Okay. There's also this, you got some,
Yeah, that's.
Brush.
I gotta.
That looks
I
pretty
gotta
fresh,
trail it
too.
down. No, that's from the front of the house. I took the bushes off the front of the house and I just threw them down there like 2 days ago. But everything behind that's all. But I'm gonna get that out of there. I got a
You're
trailer
not-
dump. I'm just gonna scoop it out of there.
You're not supposed to use that area.
Yeah, I
That's
know.
your personal dump.
He told me last time, but you know
You don't
how
listen so
when I
well?
moved there was a tire down there, so I thought the brush wasn't, I took the tire out and there's still a tire on the guy's property next door and then there's a Cushman over there, it's like everybody's trying to keep it clean, but I took a walk down the road today. I should have taken a trash can with my bag because I could have picked up like a whole bag full of
It's
cans.
outside of our
and made, like,
jurisdiction. We
$12.
don't want to
you know?
talk about it.
No, I'm just saying, you just go around, you want to just clean stuff up, because there's so much crap everywhere. Especially everything just melted,
well, how about the bricks here?
Yeah, I'm gonna put those in somewhere or do something with them. I might not have enough. There's a little variety going on there, so, like I said, you saw me. I was
The
carrying
point would be
everything
to
on
get
the
them
front.
out of that
Oh, yeah,
wetland
those
area.
going up on the hill.
That
but-
would be great.
There we
Yeah, I'm
go.
gonna clean it all off.
Now we're
but-
talking.
So I'm hearing we're getting rid of the wood, we're moving the old bushes and cobblestone or brick or whatever,
Yeah, pile
whatever that
stuff,
is going.
And you're gonna plant some trees and let the rest grow up naturally.
Yeah.
Okay, so now the final question is, does the commission want Mr. Romeo to put up wetland signs?
I think that might be good.
I think we need to remind him, because he seems to forget.
Yeah, I forgot. If you tell me to do it, I'll do it. That's it.
So it be written.
So I'll show you the example. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get galvanized posts, cement them in the ground, and,
Cement them in the ground?
well, you're gonna,
You won't be able to take them over.
I'm sure you could if you wanted.
No, kids,
See those pretty
This comes from a place called Leland Hill Estates.
Yep. Can I get them from Granger? I can get a wetland sign from Granger, right?
Well, there is a place in Brockton that sells these.
Okay.
And it even says, Sutton Conservation Commission, do not remove,
Okay.
which is nice.
If you want that, I'll get that.
So what you do is you put it on these galvanized posts, dig it in the ground, pour some cement so they don't move.
How many do you want?
How many do you want?
How wide is it?
About 80 or 100 feet in the, no, 150 in the back. Maybe 300 in the front. And 100
4 of them,
Wide, 4 of them.
Cool. Okay.
every 50 feet, and one at the end.
Can you just write down the name of that place I can get those signs at for me, please?
I will.
Thanks.
Isn't the galvanized coating toxic?
You have a goal.
I can tell you where to look for the
You're aware.
concentration levels, if you'd like.
You have an alternative?
No.
That's the big part. We're looking for something that's not gonna rust real quick
And fall down.
and fall down, right? Wood is nice, wood's natural, but doesn't last very long.
next thing you're gonna ask is,
Is anyone in the audience
want to comment on this?
want to comment? Well, I kind of know the answer, but I suppose I should still ask, right?
Yep.
And the answer is no.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I come to the next meeting too? Just
You can
come
come to
or-
as many as you like. You're
You
not
guys go to the
done, you're
next
not
meeting.
done yet.
March 15th.
March 15th?
March 15th.
I think I like these meetings more than you let know.
It gets me out of the house. Like, you know, Jeopardy gets boring. You know, you gotta take a little break. We'll go home, play some chess. And Jeopardy will be there tomorrow. Thanks a lot.
Not
No,
done?
you're not
Oh,
done.
you're not
Yeah.
done. Now comes the scolding part.
Okay.
Going to issue a negative determination of facts, the provision that you leave the area as it is. You post the signs every 50 feet at 100 feet back from the wetland. We'll give
At the
you,
100-foot buffer zone, the 100-foot mark.
Put them right on the buffer zone, so at
no,
the line of
no,
the.
100 feet up,
on
so
the
as when
wall?
you walk up to it, when you're trying to bring some more trees
On my
down
property,
and all
though?
that on your property,
Okay.
yeah, then you're reminded that you don't want to do that.
Do they have to face my direction or the
Yeah,
opposite?
they want to face your house.
Okay.
You're going to get,
So
Kind of at the crest of that hill,
So you're
right?
gonna have, the 100-foot mark's about at the bottom of the slope where your lawn is. So you're gonna have, what, 1, 2, 3, oops. 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, at the bottom of the slope. So the 100-foot mark was right around where this is. So you'll have it right around there and basically follow the bottom of the slope here. Okay, all right.
we're not done. We're going to get the wood out of there in the next 2 years. Okay? We're going to get the bricks out permanently. There's one more thing.
The brush.
The brush,
Brush. Remove the brush.
and plant some trees.
No, planting trees is on him.
Yeah.
I'll plant a couple anyways.
You can always do that.
I will second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, I'll see you guys again soon. Sit down. You good?
Trust me, you can make an application if you're that boy.
Come enjoy the company.
And he's staying.
That was already over.
Old Sturbridge Village was on Jeopardy.
I saw it last night.
Dan made the motion?
Dan.
I did.
Lauren seconded. Project update, 10 Partridge Hill Road.
But we gotta sign his thing.
We gotta sign it. Good night.
John Burns. Last time we were here, one of the abutters thought that he would be getting his lot surveyed, so we tried to see if we could piggyback on that one there. Apparently, for whatever reason, that didn't go forward. So I had our surveyor go out there and do it. I shared, this is a copy of the plan that, basically, if my recollection is correct, he wanted me to show where the fence was, the initial erosion control line, and some distances, and you'll see that they're on there. As you're looking at it, obviously it shows the house, shows the shaded area, if you will, the checkered area is the restoration area, and then the back is the erosion control. So, and then at the very back, beyond the erosion control, you see where it says fence. It's going, as you're looking at it from left to right, the word fence. And it shows where the placards are that are there. So essentially shows the fence is on the lot 49 side, 12 feet over, then in the center 9 feet, and then on the other end 20 feet. And as I've mentioned before, when we conveyed the house on July 10th of 2013, as evidenced by a lot of Brandon's pictures and pictures have been seen, this didn't exist at that point in time. We have had an order of conditions for lot 51, 52 to the left of this, if you will, with no issues. We've had them with 47, 8, and 9 with no issues. So I guess the question is now, I mean, there's no incentive to
You've
meet
done
all
your
these
part.
things. Yes, thank you.
There's one mistake on this plan. The location of the buffer zone signs are not along this line. They were, I'll show you the approved plan. The signs were placed at the top of the buffer zone restoration area, top here, while this one has them down at the bottom. That's incorrect. They were up here, which is right at the bottom of the slope. This one doesn't have to, this as-built doesn't have topography, but this one does, and you can follow the grades right down to the bottom of the slope. This is the bottom of the steep slope right here, and then from here on back it gets more level. It's not perfectly flat, it definitely doesn't have a steep slope in it. So that's the situation. So the difference between the back end of the fence and where the bottom of the slope and signs were originally, anywhere between 20 and 31 feet.
Are you saying the dotted line is where the,
This dash line right here?
yeah,
Yes,
you're saying that's the bottom of the slope?
yes.
There were never signs that far up that hill.
It's not up the hill, it's the bottom of the slope right here. This is the bottom of the steep
I didn't
slope.
extend back past that slope. I have a picture that shows the, I have a picture that shows the original, this is where the silt thing was. See, this is where I thought my property ended, so that's still the black silt. So my mulch is on where that, I laid the black silt down. So if the signs were where he's saying further up, now I brought in dirt to make this a little more level, but so I didn't fall down the hill, but it never went past where those signs were. Now, steel galvanized poles, those are not. They were originally. They were moved, they were changed. I didn't change them.
So the poles went from the galvanized round ones to the green,
Yep,
kind of like the farm fence.
yep.
When
And
somebody
they all
changed them.
stayed.
So
There's
somebody-
one out of whack.
So somebody must have had to switch them out
Yeah. Somebody did,
without your direction, is what you said.
without my direction.
Just like when they came on her property, Emily McQueen, 5 Benoni Drive, Sutton, Mass. When they came on her property the other day to survey her lawn or her house without her knowledge of anybody being there.
In last meeting, we said, not without me there.
I would like to address that. That's not what you said. If you go back to the February 1st, 2017 meeting, at the 41-minute and 54-second mark, one of the commission members, I don't know who it was because it wasn't on him, asked directly, do you give them permission to go on the lot? And you said, yes, so long as I stay involved. That was the word. I did
So
not
long
take that
as
as you needed your
present.
permission. I was trying to do what I was doing, Joan. You hired this same company. They went to your house at 9:30 in the morning, rang the doorbell.
I said,
I understand that. This cost me $1,000 to do. I'm trying to help this situation out. You called the police and said they were trespassing.
I didn't know who was there.
Joan, I think, I'm not going to dispute
Excuse me,
it.
that's not what we're here to talk about, and I understand everybody's frustrations.
You know,
The end
I
of-
called.
I'm speaking now,
I'm
ma'am.
sorry.
At the end of the day, the fence belongs where it's shown here, the limit of work. I'm sure that John did what he was supposed to do. All the other lines are correct. What do you want to do, ma'am?
Well, my concern and my frustration is, when I moved in, I called and I talked to Brandon and asked him what I could and couldn't do. I told him that I wanted to slope the hill so that I wouldn't fall down it. And the answer to me was stay in front of the wetland signs. If you want to go behind the wetland signs, I had to do all this work, I had to bring in all these blueprints and architectural designs and all that. I stayed in front of the wetland signs. He never once said to me, have it surveyed to make sure the wetland signs are in the right spot. I had a survey out there when I surveyed to put in the electrical fence, I would have had that done as well. So now, after doing everything that I've called and asked about, now we're finding out that maybe the wetland signs were not in the right place, and at my dime now I have to move everything around. And it's more than just the fence, it's all the landscaping I've done. It's, you know.
Burden's on you, ma'am.
It is.
That's right. And we don't like this either.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not getting any joy out of this.
I just.
But we've got to apply the same rules to you as we do to John and anybody else that comes here. What are we going to do?
I don't think that the signs for this picture right here from 2013, I don't think these signs are in the wrong location.
But if I took that black silk fence, put it down and put my mulch and everything on top of it, and the fence is right behind that, there's a distance, not a lot of distance, but there's 2 feet difference from the black silk fence to where that pole is. So why would my fence not be?
2 feet though, we're talking about 20 plus feet
But
at this
this,
point.
that I don't understand though, because 20 feet is moving it up, halfway back up the hill. 20 feet is more than 2
Not from the back
full.
of your fence. The back, what I'm saying is from the as-built, the back of your fence is 20 some odd feet off of where it should be.
But moving you're saying I have to take the back and move it up more.
That's right.
That 20 feet is more than that's halfway back up that hill. That's why I'm saying it doesn't make sense.
That's on one side, it looks like.
I really don't want to get in the middle of it, but I think you just even said that you changed the slope, you brought in dirt, and I think you had a landscaper go back in there and do some additional work. Maybe he was the one that went too far and moved the signs.
All he did was grade it, because it was
Well,
the
I think
same.
you go back to that picture, I think we had it graded, Joan, in there, and.
No, sorry, wrong one. So let me clear all that out and start fresh here.
Graded
So-
and germinated.
So these are some pictures that I think are very relevant here. Here's back when it was first being done. And then you get it here, 2013. So at this point, I presume that Ms. Janice owned the property.
Yep.
At this point, and you had all the grass done. Here's what it looks like again. So, my recommendation is that Ms. Janice is welcome to hire her own land surveyor to refute Mr. Burns' survey. But I have no reason to disbelieve the survey that Mr. Burns had done. I think it's pretty definitive. And it is what it is. And it's time to move on it.
I think saying that it has to go back halfway back up that hill means we were all wrong to begin with, even the landscaping that Mr. Burns did.
No.
20
We never
feet is
went,
back
we
up the
never
hill.
went beyond that fence. I mean, this is evidence, Joan, that we never went beyond that black erosion control barrier.
No, but I'm saying to move it back up 20 feet, because
It's not 20 feet everywhere, ma'am.
Just on the right side.
even one side up 20 feet is up higher than where those signs were.
So that would be on the left side, it's 12, so it's like a section and a half of fence. Right? 8-foot section approximately?
Yeah, 8, 16, 24, which would be right here.
But that's, on the left side, it's only showing 12 feet over.
Well, I think.
Am I reading that right?
No,
It's supposed to be where
because it's
the
supposed to be,
signs are supposed to be.
Oh,
This
okay.
drawing.
it's supposed to be up here.
20
up
feet.
here.
I'm reading it wrong, okay.
20 feet on one side, 31 feet on the other side, 24 in the middle.
I was reading it the opposite, so never mind.
Yeah, I think that if Ms. Denise wants to hire her own experts to refute whatever she wants refuted, she has the opportunity to do. But it looks like there's enough evidence for the commission to move forward with some kind of action to rectify the situation.
Anyone have any additional thoughts?
Well, my thoughts are that the fence should be moved back to where the original line was. We have to do that to be fair to everybody else, because that's where the line was, and the signs were put there for a purpose. So I don't know who moved them, or if it matters to us who moved them, but I think it needs to be put back where it was initially.
Needs to be brought into conformance with the original order of conditions, absolutely.
There's also the issue of the buffer zone restoration that is now lawn. And how does the commission want to deal with that?
Oh, I have a problem with that, because the other landscaper, and I'll get a signed statement from him, he didn't extend it, so all he did was reslope it. So if that
Yeah,
all has
yeah.
to be moved,
It's supposed to be in accordance with the order of conditions that was in place when you bought the property. I'm sure that when John transferred it to you, it was like that. What happened in between
he
that time and
landscaped it
now?
after I owned it.
That's right.
John landscaped it after I owned it. My landscaping wasn't done when I moved in.
Let me clarify that. As I mentioned, Joan closed on this July 10th of 2013. July is not the time to put a lawn in. We put the lawn in, I don't know the exact date, but it's somewhere around the 3rd to 4th week, or maybe the first week in September. I believe Brendan's picture showed it was October 8th. Obviously, there was plenty of time. It looked fairly well germinated at that point in time. Without knowing that question was come up, I don't have that answer, but I think you know that you don't plant lawns in
Yeah.
July.
Not gonna have much luck.
Did you do that work, John?
Yes, we did that work. We did that somewhere between the 4th week in August and 2nd week in September. Joan would probably know better than I would, and I see that because that's pretty good germination in there for, that wasn't the end of September, that was
No,
somewhere.
that was in August.
Okay, it was late August then, we did it. The first up, we always look at the weather pattern at the end of August to make a determination when we put it in.
But that goes all the way down.
So the placards, which are supposed to be right here, the top of the buffer zone restoration area, which is also at the bottom of the slope. Which, if you look at the grading here, the steep slope to the bottom of the hill, and if you look at this picture, it's a steep slope to the bottom of the hill where the
3 signs.
the 3 signs are. I think it's no more clear than that. This is photo documented very well from the very beginning. With the photo documentation, with personal observations, and now the as-built, I think there's overwhelming evidence to move forward with action.
So what is it that I'm being asked to do other than move the fence?
I would be happy if the fence got moved to the appropriate location and let the other grow back into.
So I have to hire a surveyor to come out and tell me where the appropriate place is, because we're all saying the bottom of the hill, and I'm at the
Well,
bottom
not
of the hill.
necessarily, because the survey's already been done, and they've marked out exactly how many feet it's gotta be moved. So 20 feet, if you're looking in from the road, 20 feet up the hill on the right side,
Dan,
24 feet in the middle,
can I
and 31
clarify?
on the left.
Hold on.
Yeah.
I'm looking from the road down.
Yep.
You have this, Joan?
So on the left-hand side, you gotta move it up 31 feet from where it is now. In the middle, you gotta move it up 24 feet. On the right-hand side, you gotta move it up 20 feet.
And did he, when he resurveyed this, did he start at the Leland Hill Road, Partridge Hill Road? Or did he start at the foundation?
I don't know, but again, the answer to that really is that if you wanna hire your own professional to
I
review,
just want to know how it was done, so I know where to go from.
I don't have that answer.
Well, he's giving you a dimension off of the fence that was installed,
Yeah.
so you could measure up from that.
I think the short answer is just that measurement, Joan, that shows 31 feet towards lot 49 and then so forth, is from your existing fence. He measured from the existing fence to where the erosion control should have been. And in the middle, it's 24 feet, and on the other end is 20 feet. That 20, if you will, towards lot 51.
It's a
is where the
straight line,
fence
I
is.
imagine, going across there.
It's not, it's, not a straight line. It angles up.
So they're measuring from the fence up to the.
Yeah, straight, so 90 degrees from the vent, right, straight up the hill.
Now it's putting halfway up my hill. It really is, it's much higher than what was landscaped and where the signs were, so
Again, you can
I don't know what to
hire
do, other than I paid to have the hill landscaped according to the wetlands, and now you're telling me I have to lose half of that, so I'll just move the fence the way it says to be moved.
I don't think the commission is saying that you cognizantly knew about any of this. It may have been the fence people, it could have been whoever you personally had do landscaping that wasn't paying attention, I don't know. But the evidence is that the fence, it was placed farther back than it should have, and it's gotta be rectified.
Right, it just doesn't address the original, when I moved in, the problems that I had then.
And again, you're welcome to hire your own professionals to refute whatever and come back.
I, unlike my friend here, does not want to keep coming back here.
So, I think an important part of these situations is putting timelines. Can't be open-ended.
Well, I gotta wait till the ground is thorough enough to move it.
That's fine.
And I have over 150 bulbs planted at the bottom of the hill that I also have to now dig out and move.
That's fine.
Next
Well-
year. Within a year would be fine by me.
Okay. I don't know, you'd have to move if you're not gonna restore that area, I think she could probably leave the bulbs if she wants
Well,
to.
the bulbs were planted so that when I
She could
sat
see
on
'em.
the
Could see
porch,
'em.
I could see the stuff.
Well, okay, yeah,
I mean, if you,
all right.
I
dig-
wanted to beautify the wetland area, I probably would have all the trash pulled out of that people up the street keep throwing in there because they think it's a dumping ground.
Would you like to issue a complaint? We can investigate.
I can even tell you who dumped the stuff, that's how bad it is.
Okay, well, give Wanda a ring tomorrow. We can investigate.
And how far do the wetlands go to Leland Hill?
Almost all the way to the bottom of the slope next to Leland Hill Road.
Across the whole, across everybody's back?
Yeah, there's quite the wetland is a good size back there.
All right, so why do we have boats and everything else back there?
We can investigate it, but
I think
file a
you should.
complaint with Wanda.
I will.
All right, so,
Just
Let's
before
be
she
clear.
leaves, can we,
Yeah.
are we in agreement that if she measures off the 3 markings on this plan from the fence, that we're all in agreement so you do not have to hire your own surveyor? We all okay with that?
No, I only have to hire my own surveyor if I want to say that it's wrong, but.
right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
But
a
right now,
year,
Mr. Burns spent the dime on it, so, 1 year?
Year's fine by me.
And inspection when complete?
Yep.
I'll contact you, I doubt I'll wait a full year,
Okay.
because then I can sell my house and move.
So March 1st.
Yep.
2018. Okay.
Am I free to leave now?
Always.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming in.
We all set?
Thank you very much.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
And above and beyond.
Thank you.
Right.
More than tried. Have a pleasant evening.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
Very much.
Enjoying the entertainment.
2014.
No, the 15th.
50, paid here a day early. 50.
You said 14.
It's Wednesday,
no, it's
I lied, the
2
15th.
weeks.
2 weeks from tonight.
the first and the third.
See you guys then.
the third.
Good night.
Thanks a lot.
Night. Okay, is there anything that we haven't covered?
I think we've covered it all.
Motion to adjourn.
Second,
All those in favor?
aye. You didn't know we were a comedy club.